Women's flyweight title contention is up for grabs in Atlantic City. We have a potential veteran going into his last UFC fight and some very exciting underdogs that we think might walk out, making us a little bit richer. All that and more coming up on the Fight Pit. Welcome back into the Fight Pit, everybody. My name is Kyle. I am joined, of course, by Sean and Drew. We are going to be talking about all things UFC Atlantic City. Before we do that, I have got to shout out our amazing sponsor at Pillow Fight. Look, if you are anything like me, you have got to have the right pillow to fall asleep. Luckily, Pillow Fight is that right pillow. I'm talking about the difference between tossing and turning at night versus sleeping like you just got punched in the mouth by Vicente Luque. So get yourself to Pillow Fight. Use the link in our description to save yourself even more money. It is a no-brainer, folks. Get better sleep so you can have a better start to your days. Thank you to Pillow Fight for sponsoring this episode. Now, we have got to talk about this Atlantic City card. A little bit sneaky, a little bit under the radar, but if you know where to look on this, there are some very, very fun fights. Starting off with some featherweight action, we have got Dennis Buzukja taking on Connor Matthews. I know there's a connection there for you, Drew. You want to break down this one for us?
Yes, sir. That is. First off, how about Buzukja as the one of the top names a fighter could possibly have?
Like so
going up against Connor, and also with nicknames. I noticed that SureDog still has Connor as Bad News Matthews. He's actually the Controller Matthews now. Was I believe, an air traffic controller in the military. 7-1 versus 11-4. Both of these guys have finishes. We got it makes me so happy to say. So when I first got acquainted with Connor Matthews, he was with Lozon MMA. Shout out to the homie, to the OG, J-Lo. But as of last year, I do believe it's still, they're still cool. They still, he's still rocking with them. But as of last year, he is New England Cartel. And you know how we feel about the New England Cartel around here. Very, very exciting matchup. It's one that I think could be a coming out party for Connor Matthews. He's a dog, man. If you've ever seen him fight, he is nonstop go. He is very well rounded, but he's just, military, like not afraid of nothing. There's nothing you can throw at him that he's going to be worried about. He's coming at you no matter what. Dennis Buzukja has 4 KOs, 1 sub, and 6 decision wins. He only has 2 fights in the UFC, and he lost both of those. But prior, he was on a 7-fight win streak. Now, Connor Matthews, he has 1 KO, 5 subs, and 1 decision. He had his showing on the Dana White Contender Series. He looked phenomenal. Like I said, he's a very well-rounded guy. He has an excellent ground game, and he has been able to add in an excellent striking game too, as of late. Going to train with the New England Cartel, I'm sure didn't hurt at all. I think that Connor, the controller, of course, is going to need to control the pace of this fight in order to get the win. I don't see it being a fight that goes the distance. It's the smaller guys. I think that it could go the distance. There's always a chance, but I do like a finish in this one. Both of these guys come to throw down. I'm going to go with Matthews via submission, and I'm going to go over 1.5. He's the type of guy that's going to control the pace. He's going to pressure. He's going to move forward. His striking is crisp, like I said. He's gonna stand up. He's gonna eventually try to transition, use his striking to set up his shots. He's gonna get in on a shot. He's eventually gonna get Dennis down and sink in a submission. I'm gonna go with the always popular rear naked choke on this one. I got Connor Matthews by rear naked choke over 1.5 rounds, if not the end of the second, early in the third.
I like it. Now, these are some exciting prospects. The big thing for me with Dennis Buzukja is, yes, it's been great seeing the progress from fight to fight, but it's been alarming that he still hasn't gotten that first UFC win. And Connor Matthews, just like you said, he looked so good on the Contender Series. So I really like the Connor Matthews pick on that one. Man, we might be picking a fair amount of underdogs on this, because on the next fight, we're talking about a little bit of middleweight action. We got Andre Petroski taking on Jacob Malkoun, and I don't understand how Andre Petroski is an underdog in this fight. I'm going to be completely honest. Nothing against Jacob Malkoun. 7-3, 2 knockouts, 5 decisions, 1 first-round finish. Definitely more of a take you down and try and ground and pound your face in. Like a lot, almost 40% of his strikes come from the ground. So he's going to be looking for that ground and pound. I don't like that against a fighter like Andre Petroski. Of course, 10-3, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. He is crafty on the ground. Like, this is the big reason that when I see Jacob Malkoun's, 7.2 takedown average, it doesn't necessarily put me at ease, because I know he's not going for a submission. He's trying to elbow your face in. It's, of course, coming off of a disqualification loss where he used illegal elbows. But Andre Petroski is not afraid of the ground. He will go there. He will try and find a way to get your neck, get a joint, try and find some submission. And I like Andre Petroski getting a submission in this. I'm going to say, honestly, I think he can lock it up early. He's, of course, coming off of the knockout loss, so he is hungry to get back in the win column. Like, we saw this, this fighter's personality come out a little bit on The Ultimate Fighter. He is a fiery competitor and absolutely will bounce back from a loss with a vengeance. So I'm taking Andre Petroski as the underdog, and I'm taking him by a 2nd round submission, possibly first, but we'll see where it goes. But I really like Petroski in this one. Moving right along, we're going to stick with middleweight, and us here on Fight Pit, we've got to have our old Yeller fight, and me, I've just got to give it to Sean. So Sean, break down Chris Weidman taking on Bruno Silva for us.
Well, Chris Weidman obviously has fought the better fighters. He's been a world champion. He dethroned Anderson Silva not once but twice, and obviously, if you don't know the history, Anderson Silva broke his leg around Chris Weidman, and then just 2 fights ago, Chris Weidman kicks Uriah Hall's leg, and it just wraps around the same exact way. And it's insane what has happened in Chris Weidman fights. And then his last fight, it was almost like bittersweet. It was so awesome to see him in there after I think he's had like 5 surgeries. They had to re-break the leg.
Almost lost the leg at one point.
Yeah. Almost lost it, got infected. I know that for sure. It was almost like an Alex Smith situation if you're an NFL fan. And so this is Atlantic City. He's from Long Island. He trains with Matt Serra. He's trained with Aljamain Sterling. Like, this is going to be a home crowd for him. But last fight should have been a retirement fight. Just, hey, good job. You did it. But this one, I think, will be the retirement fight. Win or lose, I think this is it. But I'm going to go with Bruno Silva. He has at 23-10-0 versus 15-7-0. Yes, he has more losses, but he definitely seems like he has more in him than Chris Weidman does. Definitely has advantage striking, has insane knockout power, and that's what I think is going to happen. He's going to get finished. I think it's going to be like a TKO in the 2nd round. I think Chris Weidman gets beat up in the 1st round. He tries to get some takedowns, but I don't know if you have it in you to get those takedowns and hold someone down. I don't know how powerful his legs are anymore. So, and obviously, any fighter that fights Chris Weidman from here on out, you know where to go to. You saw the last fight. Just kick the fuck out of that leg. He can't even check the kicks. It's like it was a scary last fight. I was terrified for him. I don't think there's anyone that actually dislikes Chris Weidman. He's one of the nicest dudes. Horrible stuff's happened to him, definitely with his father-in-law too, getting hit by a car and dying. It's like the dude can't catch a break. No pun intended. But I see a guy over there. But oh man, that's bad. But but no, I think Bruno Silva is gonna get this TKO in the 2nd round. And I hope Chris Weidman hangs it up. I really do. He doesn't need any more. He doesn't need to prove anything. He's a world champion. He dethroned some people's GOAT in Anderson Silva, the greatest run in UFC history at 16 wins. No one has ever done that. Like, he dethroned that, so come on. Like, you can hang it up. You'll go into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no doubt.
It's been fun, Chris.
Yeah, and like surefire Hall of Famer, like you said, there's nothing left to prove, and that last fight was scary. I didn't like watching it because, like you said, there's no one that doesn't like Chris Weidman. He is the most amazing dude who has had the most awful things happen to him, and it is completely unfair. I'm actually glad that they're giving him this opportunity to fight on the Atlantic City card as a send-off, and I hope he takes that opportunity as a send-off because he deserves it. He deserves to ride off into the sunset. Sticking with middleweights, we're just loving 185 for this episode. We have got the all-time name matchup. We have got Nurlston Ruzaboyev taking on Cedricus Dumas. And that is as close as I'm going to get. And I'm going to throw it to Sean to talk about Ruzaboyev first.
This fight's, honestly, it looks like some up-and-coming prospects. One of them, you have Ruzaboyev, that's 1-0 with a first-round KO TKO. And in his 35 wins, he has 32 finishes, which is insane. But obviously only one fight in UFC, so you don't know if he's been fed cans or not. He is on a good win streak right now. And then Dumas is 2-1 in UFC and 9-1 in his record. So it looks like a nice up-and-comer fight. I'll pass it to Drew to see what he thinks about this.
This, I mean, we were all kind of like, what the hell is going on with these guys? Because this is like an insane. I mean, you've got Nursultan Ruzaboyev, 33 wins. He's on a 9-fight win streak, and all 9 of those wins were by finish. All 9 of them were in the first round. That's like, how the hell do we not know more about this dude? You know, I figure he would be one of them that's like a very like touted prospect making his run in the UFC, or attempting to fucking translate that run over to the UFC. As far as Cedricus Dumas, this one, I won't get too much into it, but he has had some personal trouble kind of throughout the time that we've known him, and it's not the kind of personal trouble that makes you feel bad for him, you know? So my immediate, first pick is I hope that he loses. I don't know how it's going to happen or where it's going to happen. His 2 wins in the UFC against Cody Brundage and Abu Zaitar, so not bad wins at all. Definitely not cans, guys that we know. I mean, Cody Brundage is fighting on the main card of UFC 300 now, so it's not a bad win. Not a bad win under his belt.
All about?
But
no, that's some shit.
And then if you count, because he has 1 submission win, but both of those wins, he has 1 submission win on the Contender Series. His 2 wins in the UFC were by decision. His 1 loss in the UFC was by submission, and it was, I believe, Josh Fremd, which is another top name in the division. I don't see how you go 9-fight win streak, all in the first round, all by finish, and you don't continue doing that. I mean, he had his test against Bruno Ferreira, who is not a slouch at all either. Finishing him in the first round. I think, I don't think Alex Pereira was even able to finish him in the first round. I think that's the Bruno that he fought. So I'm gonna go with Ruzaboyev by finish. I hope it's by finish. I hope it's in the first round, and I hope Cedricus Dumas can turn it around and get it together.
Yeah, I've got Ruzaboyev by submission first round. Has to be because of just the 2 styles here. A little bit more leaning towards grappling, and that's going to play right into Ruzaboyev's hands. So there's no way this goes any other way. Like, he almost reminds me of Jerry Prochazka when he was coming in, like insane
Yeah,
experience outside
exactly.
of the UFC, and then goes in and just wrecks house. Like this is what Ruzaboyev kind of reminds me of. But we've got to talk about this co-main event. A little bit of disagreement with different websites about what the co-main event is. I promise y'all, Vicente Luque and Joaquin Buckley are the ones on the poster. This is the co-main event. We've got some welterweights facing off with one another. Of course, Vicente Luque bringing in a 22-9-1 record, 11 knockouts, 8 submissions. And then you've got Joaquin Buckley, 12 knockouts, and 4 of them in the first round. He brings that with a 17-6-0 record into this fight. Now this has got fight of the night written all over it. This is screaming absolute slugfest, like dog fight. I like both of these fighters quite a lot. I've gone back and forth on this fight quite a lot. Sean, I'm going to throw it to you first. Give me your thoughts on our co-main event.
I think the biggest question mark in this fight is Vicente Luque's chin. If his chin can hold up, he should win this fight. He has enough technique. He's good enough on the ground. He's fairly good on feet too. He's knocked out people like Tyron Woodley, and I know he was on his way out, but it's still Tyron Woodley's still a beast. When he was in the UFC, still a beast. But Joaquin Buckley, that dude has power, and it doesn't matter what position you have him in, because he has probably one of the coolest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Ever.
That where the guy catches his leg and he just spins around and takes his goddamn head off.
That was insane.
How do you even do that? Like the balance and everything, but that's the biggest question for me is like, because obviously when you look at these two, it's the technique versus the power. And I'm going to lean Vicente Luque. I think his chin will hold up. I think he'll try to get to the ground game as quick as possible. And he has great cardio, so he's not going to burn out. I haven't seen Vicente Luque burn out once yet in his career. So I don't think that's going to be a factor where Buckley could get a third-round KO. It's either going to be quickly or it's not going to happen, in my opinion. So I'm going to go Vicente Luque. I'll go by rear naked choke in the second round.
There you go. What is so interesting to me about this fight, because I'm inclined to agree with you. It is Vicente Luque's game on the ground. Joaquin Buckley technically has a higher takedown average, which I just think is fascinating. It's not going to mean anything in the fight for what it's worth, but it's so weird that Joaquin Buckley has the higher takedown average. No submissions. Like, let's not get it twisted. Vicente Luque actually has the advantage on the ground, but yeah, no, I don't know if I like this getting out of the first. Between the two of them, I mean, you've got 17 first round finishes. Yeah, 17 first round finishes between the two of them. Someone's got to give. Drew, who is it going to be?
I mean, we talked about it a lot before this episode too. This is the hardest fight to call on the card. This one is like, it's so close. It's exciting. It could be a fight of the night. It could be a performance of the night finish by either dude. It's a very tough one. Vicente Luque, he has, I think we tend to think of him as a submission guy, as a ground game guy, but he has 11 KOs. He has 11 KO TKOs. So he's it's not a case where it's just like a grappler versus striker. And then with dude, this one, and Vicente Luque has been utilizing his striking a lot better as of late also. He has been on the bad end of it at times, but for the most part, he's able to hold his own on the feet. And that's where I think Joaquin Buckley is going to want to keep it. Joaquin Buckley at times is kind of frustrating for me because he's such like a slow starter where he could be finishing dudes in the first round, but he ends up getting like a late second round finish at times. He's one of those dudes that you can never count him out because he can at any point just absolutely fucking
Trying to lock
flatline somebody. Yeah. And I think that Vicente Luque is going to try to strike with him a little bit too long. I think that he'll give Joaquin Buckley the chance to be able to do it. I don't know if Joaquin Buckley is going to be able to do it. If Luque stays on the feet for more than a round, I think Buckley has the best chance at getting the finish. But my heart says that Vicente Luque is going to win a decision. I think that the smart move would be to obviously, use your striking to set up your takedowns. Don't just telegraph shots from, out in the middle of the cage and shit, but go either stay disengaged or stay clinched, try to get the fight to the ground, establish, the dominant position and look for a submission. I think that's what he's going to be able to do. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, so I'm going to say Luque by unanimous decision.
There you go. I think, and Sean, you had Luque as well, right?
Yeah, but definitely sprinkle on a knockout by Buckley, because that can definitely happen.
I got it. And it's not even to do a save. It's because I have this vision.
It can happen.
And like
it can happen, 100%.
I think he's going to stay with him just a little bit too long. Like, I really think, because it's easy to look at some of these numbers and think that, oh yeah, Vicente Luque would even have a standing advantage because he is far more accurate. He lands more significant strikes. The difference is the significance, though. Like, Joaquin Buckley's strikes, they will stop a car mid-drive at 35 miles an hour. He'll just right there stop a car. And that, I think, is going to be the key difference. And that's why I'm going with Joaquin Buckley by a second round. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to go with a second round TKO. I don't know if it's going to be a clean knockout. In my heart, I don't want it to be because I really love Vicente Luque. But after seeing, his chin get cracked by Jeff Neal, and he's facing another big 170-pounder, I don't like it very much. And just tough to pick against him, but I'm going to for the sake of the record, and hopefully somebody's right. That's all I hope. Hopefully it's not a draw. Moving right along, we finally made it. Main event. We have Erin Blanchfield versus
Manon Fiorot.
There it is. Women's 125-pound action. Blanchfield is coming in as a slight favorite, minus 140. She's, of course, bringing in a 12-1 and very impressive record on a 9-fight win streak, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions. Very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist. Can't say enough about Erin Blanchfield's ability. On the other side of it, we have Manon Fiorot. Nailed it. Who is bringing in another impressive record at 11-1, 6 knockouts, 1 first-round finish, 5 wins by decision. This one feels to me like a little bit more striker versus mixed martial artist. And I definitely see Blanchfield relying a little bit more on the grappling in this one. She'll stand for a little while with Fiorot, but I don't see it going particularly well just because of the power on the other side. She's going to switch it up and try and go to the ground, go for those submissions. And I do like her chances of being able to catch Manon Fiorot in a later submission. It won't happen early. She's got to kind of get through that initial, that she's nicknamed the Beast, that initial rage that Fiorot seems to start with in every fight, which is, exciting as hell. But if Blanchfield can make it through that, absolutely, tire her out, get her on the ground, and lock up a submission. So I'm just gonna give my pick. I'm going with Blanchfield by a 3rd round sub. And Sean, give me your pick on this.
So normally when it comes to women MMA, the safest bet is just betting decision, like making the distance. It really is, because it's some of them just don't have the finish rate. Both of them are a 50% clip at finishing fights, and they've been doing it against high-level opponents too.
I feel it coming. I feel it coming.
I do think Aaron Bletchfield is definitely the smart bet on this one. If FIOROT, I think, needs to stuff takedowns and actually get it done quickly, because once it gets into Bletchfield's ballpark, it's all over. It's going to be takedown city, ground and pound, going for submission, and I do believe we're going to be getting the submission in the later round. I'm even going to go later. I think it's going to be a very heavy, like almost like backpack style Aljamain Sterling kind of fight. I'm going to say it's going to be a 4th, if not even a 5th round submission by Aaron Bletchfield.
Late. I like it, man. I just like it. That's the stuff that I get excited about, because you get a full fight and you get a finish. It's the best. That's why the championship rounds exist, people. Drew, give me a breakdown on this one.
Bro, the 12-1 versus 11-1. Like, what more could you ask for? Especially in this women's division that, at times can feel a bit stagnant. But this one is, I agree. I like the finish in this one. I think Blanchfield is justified in being the favorite at the moment. She's fought Taylor Santos, Jessica Andrade, Molly McCann, JJ Aldridge, Miranda Maverick. She's fought all just killers in that division, and she's done well. Manon Fior has fought Nama Yunus, Caitlin Chukagian, Sermonara, Jennifer Maya, Bueno Silva, Tabitha Ricci. They've both been just running through the division one at a time. The thing that stands out to me the most about Manon Fior is that she has 6 KO wins, but only two of them were in the UFC. All the rest has been decisions. I initially liked Manon Fior by TKO in this one, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I knew we were going to be split on this one. We split both of them, so it's going to be an interesting one. But I like your guys' idea too of Blanchfield being the one to dictate the pace, to get the fight to the ground, to drag her to the deep waters, and try to get her to say uncle. I am going to flip-flop it. I'm going to say that as it goes into the later rounds, Blanchfield is going to get a little bit tired trying to hold her down the whole time. And I'm going to say that Manon Fior is going to be able to get a late 3rd, 4th round TKO. Just to make it interesting.
Nice sweep and ground and pound, get the win. I like it. There you have it, folks. That's our little sampling of the UFC fight night of Blanchfield and Fior, UFC Atlantic City, going down Saturday, March 30th. Make sure you tune in. This one's fun. And hey, we are just around the corner from that 300 UFC. It's going to be so good, people. It's going to be so good. But we've got to get there first. So make sure you are subscribed to get all of the new content. We are going to be doing a lot of exciting stuff. We're now on a new schedule. We're going to be uploading our predictions at the beginning of fight week. And of course, if any fight changes happen, we will be covering those in some of our shorts. So make sure you're following us on all social media platforms as well to get all of that content. New YouTube page, new Instagram. Check us out, The Official Fight Pit. Make sure you're tuned in. Like, you know the record. You know that we are well above the MMA page average of 50%. We're batting about 700 this year so far, and it's only looking better from here. Going with a few dogs on this one. I kind of like it. I kind of like the dogs on this one.
Making money, baby. Making money.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So make sure you tune in. It has been so great hanging out with y'all on the Fight Pit. Until the next time, that's Sean. That's Drew. My name is Kyle. Peace.